Hey everybody, and welcome to Honeybee Entertainment. I'm your Coach B, and today I'm excited to share with you my guide for the newest hero in Overwatch, Freja. Freja is a mid-ranged aerial sniper that specializes in, large bursts of value, whether that be through her use of her abilities or by landing shots that are going to do a lot of damage. I'd like to preface this video by saying I'm not some top 500 DPS. I'm just somebody that's put 25 hours into Freja and well over 200 hours into Echo and Pharah combined. So I have a lot of experience playing vertical heroes, and I feel like some of that can be correlated into this hero, and I'm going to try my best to put it into words for you all. I'm going to be breaking this video down into two main parts. The first one is going to be focusing on the mechanics of the hero, and the second one is going to be focusing on the game sense of the hero. Now, there are plenty of videos out there showing off Freja's abilities. If you haven't seen this yet, please pause the video briefly, as I'm only going to touch on these things at a surface level at this time. So let's jump right into it. Freja's primary weapon has two different fire types. She has a quick-firing automatic crossbow, and she also has Take Aim, which scopes in, does a powerful shot that will then explode after 1 second. She also has two abilities. One is a dash that can be used in all directions. Whatever input you have on a movement key is the direction you will go. She also has the ability Updraft, which will push you up into the air. The last thing is this. Whenever you scope in with Take Aim while in the air, your movement will be slowed and you won't be losing any vertical height. Unless, of course, you're already on your way down, in which case it will still slow your descent. And lastly, the final part of her kit is her ultimate. This is called Bolo Shot. If landed on a target, it'll pull nearby enemies in and then do an explosion afterwards. This ability also will hinder the target that's hit and will provide 75% movement speed reduction to that target, and I believe 25% to all targets in the affected area, which is about 5 meters. Quickly, I would like to go over a couple of breakpoints with this hero. A 250 HP hero, like Soldier 76 here, can be body-shotted twice with Take Aim and will die. The reason for this is Take Aim in and of itself does 40 damage when you land the shot. It will then do an additional 90 damage of explosion damage to the target that's hit, and if there are any other enemies within that radius, which is 2.3 meters of the target, they can take all the way down to 30 damage. So 90 plus 40, that puts us at 130, so 2 body shots will bring us to the total of 260, which is just enough to kill a 250 HP target. Additionally, if you headshot and 2 more headshots, that will kill them. Or if you land headshot, body shot, of course, that will also kill them. The other one would be 250 HP targets, which can actually be one shot with Take Aim headshot and then with a single rapid fire shot to the head. Additionally, if you hit them once and then twice in the body, they will also go down. The last one would be for your real squishies like Tracer here. Tracer, you just need to cough on her after you hit a headshot, but if you land a body shot on her, you can still finish her off with 1 headshot to the head. Headshot to the head. Good job, B. Alright, jumping right into it, starting with mechanics. There are 2 main parts to mechanics. There's aim, and there's movement. As far as aim goes, just like any other character, you're going to have to build it up. I'm still working on figuring out exactly how to aim the best I can with Freja, but there are a few things that could be pointed out to help improve your aim. The first one is that her fire is projectile. Both the take aim and rapid fire shots are projectiles. They are very fast moving projectiles, though, as far as projectiles are concerned. So what that really means is that close range, you're not going to have to worry about it at all. When you get to long range with this weapon, now you're looking at anticipation more so than tracking. So I would say at further ranges, especially if you're in a duel with, let's say, an Ashe or another Freya or some sort of mid-range hero, you're looking to almost shoot where they are and in the hope of them kind of walking back into that area during strafing. But mid-range is where you're really going to have to focus on what I found to be more effective with this hero than flicking, which is what I typically do with projectile-based heroes, especially when I'm playing Pharah. This hero, I find, is a lot more effective with a soft lead. More so finding the target and then just pulling slightly past them. Just barely leading them as you go and not trying to set up and then flick. Didn't show it at the beginning, but another thing that I will note is that you can cancel out most of the take aim animation simply by hitting right mouse and holding left mouse. It'll fire off take aim as soon as it possibly can, which will hardly slow your momentum, and your POV also won't get scoped in as much. But I would say that about covers what I have learned with this hero. It's really those mid-range fights that you're going to have to do more leading. Close range, I would say fire like it is a hit scan and kind of adjust over time. But long range, you're also kind of going to be anticipating, so feel free to fire where the target was, and they might be back there by the time the projectile gets there. Next, I would like to specifically focus on the ultimate. Bolo shot is not very strong, if we're being honest. Putting some numbers on the table, it only does 25 damage to the target that's hit. It does 90 damage over time, and then 100 damage of explosion. Comes out to 215 damage to the target hit, which is enough to kill a tracer, but not enough to kill anyone else on the roster. So basically anytime you use this ultimate, you're going to need to follow up with something. So, how can we best use this ultimate? For sure, this ultimate's value is front-loaded on you landing it on a target. It's not very strong, and the first half of that damage will be completely missed if you don't land it on the target. The 25% movement speed reduction can still be nice to slow a target and make sure that you can land another hit. However, you really want to focus on landing it. It has a casting time with this ultimate, so you're going to have to use it carefully. It slows you down in the air, you start screaming really loud like a Genji, and all of a sudden, you become a target. So you need to take your time, don't rush the setup, and also don't force the setup. You get this ultimate a lot, so use it frequently. However, do not try to make big plays with it. It's totally fine to use it on a single target just to win a fight. And going into more specifically how you want to position yourself for this shot is it's always going to be best with a lot of her kit to be in the air. It makes you more of a target, like I said. However, if you do miss, you're still guaranteed to land it on the ground near the target. A few other tips I have are pre-orienting your crosshair before you use your dash. When you're getting ready to dash around a corner, instead of dashing to the left and then quickly moving your scope all the way to the right, instead, as you're starting to dash, already be moving your crosshairs to the right in order to compensate for that movement. Additionally, you can use this with a fairly set crosshair position, and you can dash towards a target and find that line where you're going to be able to line up with them and take your shot. In general, going back to the soft leading, I have found that taking a bit more of a stationary crosshair placement in general has been more effective for me than trying to wildly move around. Set up, wait for the target, be a little patient, take your shot. Obviously, as things get hectic, you're going to have to start doing those cancels like I talked about, getting off your shot as quickly as possible. But whenever you can, you really should be focusing on scoping in on the target and then moving to compensate for their movement. Next, going into movement. First thing I will say about her movement is that it is very, very strong at repositioning and positioning. However, you're not relatively fast for all intensive purposes. You can't run away from a fight once it's on top of you. So you're going to have to be very proactive with your positioning. But like I said, all of your tools allow you to position very, very well. So the best thing you can do is move around quickly and frequently. Don't get caught in the same position after a few seconds. Take some shots like a good sniper. You hit, you move, you hit, you move. Easy peasy. Next, focusing in on that, all of your cooldowns are short. So just another reason to reposition often. There are a few techs that I'm going to cover here in just a second, but the last one would be to find ways to use your movement on the environment. There's a lot of places where you can stall with your dash or with your take aim slowed movement, and finding those abilities, finding those positions where you can use your abilities to leverage a better position for you is going to be necessary to take full advantage of this hero and of her kit. So now I'd like to go over the movement techs that have been discovered, that I've learned, that I've seen other people using, and we'll go over them all. First thing of note, if you have no movement key input and you use your dash, it'll push you up in the air. Now, you can combine this simple tech with your take aim. If you dash up and immediately take aim, it'll actually give you extra height. You can do this 3 times in a row without any issues. The next thing, adding on to this, if you add in your updraft, you can actually stay in the air indefinitely. You have to start with a single dash up. When you hit it, you're going to go straight into your updraft. And there you go. Just by cycling your abilities, as soon as you hit the dash key, you're instantly going to be taking aim. You're going to ride that out for as long as take aim lasts. And there you go. So, setting up for pre-fight, there's a lot of cool little things you can do with this. Obviously, in the game, in the middle of the heat of battle, this itself is pretty effective, but not necessarily going to come into play all the time. The next thing, and I actually just kind of did it right there, is if you hit your updraft, scope in, and take a shot, when you get to the top of your updraft, right as you start to come down, you'll get a second shot, like this. Perfect. Also, you're going to find plenty of times where you're in a situation like this, where you can simply do an updraft in order to get the line of sight that you need. And I would say that's going to be the main use I've found for this. Little half walls. Trying to find a half wall. Something like this. If you're dealing with something like this, you can dash up over and take your shot, right? And the last thing that I have written down is pointing out that your dash will cancel out any forward vertical momentum that you have from updraft. So I'm going to simply walk forward, I'm going to hit updraft, and then I'm immediately going to dash. If you watch the cooldowns, and you'll see I'll get almost no height. So, just so you know, do not spam your dash right after updraft if you're trying to, go up. But also, what this can allow you to do is something like right here. If I want to get up here, I can dash up, and then I'm actually going to dash to the side, which will take away all of my vertical movement. Watch if I did it without that. You'll see that I can still scope in and slow down, but then I'm going to go way up past this balcony. So use your dash to stop vertical momentum. If you are at an area where you're like, oh, I'm here, I don't want to go forward, you can always use your dash to stop going up. And that's about it for mechanics. Next, let's jump into game sense. I think one of the best things to represent game sense is definitely positioning in this game. Positioning changes so rapidly and is so reliant on what you have, what the enemy has, and how you can leverage your abilities to give you a better position. So let's dive right into it. In my opinion, I really like to break it down by a mnemonic device I learned from Coach Spilo, that being CART. C-A-R-T. The C stands for cover, the R for range, A for angle, and T for tempo. Starting with cover. Freja wants vertical cover. Anything that you can use to leverage your vertical abilities against your enemy is going to be strong. So, this building here, if I'm defending on this point, I want to be playing something around here. I want to be looking for areas where it's hard for them to hit me, and I'm going to get the very first hit. In general, though, you're looking to play rooftops, looking to play corners. Something that, again, going back to Coach Spilo, that has stuck with me with one of his Freja coaching sessions, Farah coaching sessions, is anywhere that you can play a corner on the ground, you can probably play the same corner in the air. So instead of sitting here and playing this corner, instead be looking to take a vertical angle, get up above their heads, make it so that you have the cover. In this case, I was just using this bridge as my cover. Next is angle. Cover and angle are so closely related that we kind of already have covered most of it. Your angles that you're looking for are definitely going to be these sneaky angles. Instead of being here where they expect you, you're going to be up here. You're looking to take a vertical angle just like your cover. Additionally, you can leverage that to take soft off angles in very interesting places. Places where most characters couldn't get. And that's where you're going to find a lot of your value with your angles. Finding places that you can get that very few heroes on this roster can. Next is range. We already covered this a bit in our previous mechanics session, but we are going to be looking to play mid-range. We don't want to let flankers get right up on us because we lack the speed to get away, unless we're in a situation where we can abuse vertical cover. This being a situation, if I'm getting pushed on this angle, I could always get up here and quickly break line of sight from maybe a tracer that was coming through here. But I don't like this angle. This is too close for me. I might be able to take a hit, but as soon as I miss and I can't push the target I'm marking away, I need to be moving to a new angle that's going to give me a good mid-range for my attack. So I like this a lot more. I like shooting people around here. What I don't really like is trying to shoot people all the way over here. If I'm here, I can still aim on this balcony here, but this is about as far as I want to go. This this map doesn't have a ton of long range over here. So let's go to the second point. Over on the second point, the angles and sight lines definitely open up a good bit. So now we're over here and the enemies are coming through the front door. I totally can play at this range without a problem. An Ashe would want to be up here. This is a very strong position for mid to long range heroes. But I'm going to find a lot more success, honestly, right here, playing a little bit closer. Just making sure that my projectiles are getting to my target a little bit quicker without putting myself in too much danger. Again, on this second point defending, I'm definitely looking to play this top area, but I could even get cheeky once they're kind of getting over here. I could play some vertical over here, whatever I want to do, but making sure that my range is staying. You really are a mid-range hero. When you hear mid-range, you want to be in the middle of whatever the situation is. Goldilocks zone, not too close, not too far away. And the very last thing is tempo. Tempo is in regards to your abilities, your ammo, anything that you can track. So ultimate to ammo, everything, health even, would be part of tempo. Now, when it comes to being in a good position and using this tempo to your advantage, what does that look like? Well, your updraft is on a 10-second cooldown, which isn't the longest cooldown in the game, but it is a longer cooldown. So your updraft itself is going to be something where this bridge, I can always use my dash tech to get up here. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a lot more time than doing this, right? So when I have my updraft, I'm looking to take a strong vertical position. So now I have my updraft, I will take this position quickly. I can get up here, just like I said, I can get up here without a problem from using my dashes, but it just is a little bit slower. So whenever you have your dash, you're looking to take a strong vertical position. Definitely can always just use your updraft to do what I talked about before and kind of just do a play where you're just going to kind of sit in the air for a little bit and play some vertical movement. But again, right there, you kind of saw, I want to be using my updraft in combination with my dashes. Your updraft will push you forward a little bit, like you do have control like this. I can make my way to the bridge. But let's say I'm over here and I want to get up there. Now I'm going to have to use a dash in order for me to get to this bridge. So just making sure that you have that cooldown to combine with updraft is going to be important. Next, you have 2 dashes. So this is a resource that you get to manage a little bit more carefully. They are on a very short cooldown, but you want to be watching it sort of like a tracer blink. Try not to leave yourself in a position with no dashes. Like right now, I just used both my dashes, but I'm back in cover. A bad example would be using my dash and dropping down here when the enemy are right here. I've kind of put myself in a situation where I don't have anything to run away with. Your dash isn't the most effective for running away, but anything to make space is going to be huge. Now, when it comes to your dashes, they reset your take aim. So, it allows you to do a huge burst of damage. And this gets back to what I had said at the very beginning of this video. A large part of your value is going to come in a very tempoed burst. So every single time you have a dash and you don't need to use it for anything in particular, use it. Take a shot. You have a good opportunity. Get off as many shots as you can. Increase your DPS. Now, going back to our breakpoints, a 250 HP hero is going to die from 2 body shots. Watch how fast I can get off 2 body shots. Right? That could be a dead hero right now. So, every time you have a dash, look to be using your dash. Leverage your movement as quickly as you can, but also try to leave yourself enough time to recoup those before you go in for your next engagement. I'm up here now. I have my dashes. I'm going to take some shots. I'm moving. I'll even use a dash to move. I'm going to get over here. I'm going to take a couple shots. I have my dash again. I can play. I have my dash again. I can play. Your dash is what's going to allow you to make big plays. So try not to just be spamming it when you don't need to, but also be using it whenever you can possibly use it to potentially take a hero out of the fight. Now, again, with tempo, focusing in on your ultimate more specifically, this is an ultimate that can get countered by a lot of things. It can get sucked by a Sigma, can get DM'd by a Diva, it can get Suzu'd, Immortality, or Lamped, anything can. There's a ton of stuff that can stop your ultimate and take away a ton of its value. So, if you want to make big plays, you need to track cooldowns. Think of it like a Dragon Blade. If you're looking to get a 4-5k with your Dragon Blade, the only way that's ever going to happen is if you're tracking cooldowns. You're waiting for the Suzu to get throwed. Okay, you're waiting for their Diva to use up her defense matrix, and as soon as you see it go down, you're going to use your ultimate. You have to be watching out for things like Onanade. Anything that's going to provide a large burst of healing is going to completely mitigate your ultimate. So track other ultimates and abilities, and be looking to drop yours kind of in between. It works really well in a mid-fight because you build it so quickly. Don't be afraid to, if you see an opportunity, you see Kiriko use her Suzu, shoot it. If you hit Kiriko with it, it's actually going to provide a hindered effect, like I said, which means even if she has her teleport, she won't be able to use it. So I think that about covers it. We've gone in, we've talked about a few things that you can keep in mind to focus on your aim. We've covered every movement tech that I have learned and showed how you can use those to leverage a better position for yourself. And we've also gone over positioning, focused in on game sense, how you can use your abilities to leverage good positions, how you can manage your cooldowns in order to get big bursts of value. Try not to leave yourself without any cooldowns, but make sure to be using them as frequently as you possibly can. Use your ultimate not necessarily on cooldown, but as frequently as you can. it's okay just to use it to bait out other ultimates because you get it so quickly. And even if you're not tracking cooldowns like I had just talked about, just throwing it out there can scare people into using abilities they don't have to use. Make sure that you are playing vertical cover. Make sure that you are abusing your ability to be places that other people can't get. And also remember that no matter what, you always want to be trying to look for that kill shot with 2 take aim shots back to back. It is the quickest way for you to take someone out of the fight. But even if you don't get off that second shot or you miss one of the 2, landing a single 160 damage shot on someone is going to force them to back out, it's going to force them to wait, and it's going to continue to apply pressure and buy your team time and space. I hope you've all enjoyed. Let me know in the comments if there's anything you've learned about Freja that I have completely missed in this video. I hope that you have learned something that you feel like you can take in to improve your own Freja gameplay. And again, thank you for watching. I appreciate the support. This has been Honeybee Entertainment. I'm your Coach B. Have a great night. Ciao.